Hi, welcome to my channel. My name is Alyssa, and today I am showing you the finale of my project pan called 5 by 2025. So if that sounds good, then keep watching. So if you are new to my channel or just haven't come across this little series I've been doing, basically I've been using all of the eyeshadows in my palettes 5 times each for this year. And my name for the project came from a Buffy the Vampire Slayer phrase that was actually from Faith, the character on there, and she would always say 5 by 5 to say she was fine. So I just thought it would be kind of fun that I was using everything 5 times by next year. So I guess it wouldn't work though for if I did this again next year, but it's okay. I didn't know how long it would take me. I'd never done anything like this, tracking uses like that before. And I've definitely used some of the eyeshadows more than 5 times. But in my last update, which I have a playlist, I'll link videos and all that so you can catch up if you haven't already. And in my last one, I only had these, can't see that one very well, 5 palettes left that I hadn't finished. And I was feeling fairly confident with most of them. This one here was the one I had the most shades to work on. And since the last update, but then also just since this project started, I have actually brought in a couple more palettes to my collection. And I've also been working on those, but I'm not going to include the updates for them in this video just because I'm focusing on my original set of palettes. So, this one. So this was, the shades in here were from a Colored Rain palette called Vivid Pigments, and I depotted them. At first it was sort of an accident because I thought that they were magnetic, and I realized very quickly they weren't, but I'd already started destroying things, so I made them magnetic. But that's also why they're looking a little bit worse for the wearer. But yeah, you might notice there's a few shades missing, but that's just because I pulled them out into another palette. But yeah, I did use all of these the 5 times. I had finished them up and it was actually pretty speedy. All right. And then my Juicy Boost palette was actually pretty easy for me to do. I just started buckling down. And, it's like, all right, I'm going to just use this palette until I've got those uses. I'm just going to kind of stick with it and, then move on to the next one. And that worked well since I only had a few left. So I have this one, just kind of showing you what they look like. They definitely have like more dips and things like that. I just got some on my finger. And then this one here. Again, you're seeing a bit more wear. I mean, some of them I don't need very much. This one needs a little bit more to get the color to show up how I want it. But yeah, all done. I'm not really bothering to show you the checklist. I guess, I could have cheated with that if that was the thing. But yeah, so this palette also then all done. This one, it was definitely just kind of, with some of these shades, I can't really double them up. Like certain palettes, it's like, oh, I can easily use like 4 eyeshadows and, get uses with them. But it's like, if I'm going to use this green, I'm not also going to use like this color because they were kind of similar enough that like I might do like contrasting. Maybe I do like the green and like a pink or with gold or something like that. But, like my least favorite shades that were in here, it was, like, okay, here we go. But yeah, it is all done. The next one, you would have actually probably seen some of this if you've been watching my project level up videos because I had it in there. Did I have in something else? I've done like Expand Those Pans. So it's my Tarte palette, which is the Tartist Pro Remix. So this one, all done, also has a lot more pans than it did at the start of the year, so that's always exciting. And the last palette that I finished was my Prados Beauty palette. And so this one was a challenge just because I have so many similar like reds and pinks, but I will say that because that's kind of what was left, I did get to learn some of the nuances between them. And these are definitely more very basic satins, like barely called satin, okay? They might as well be a matte in a way, just like a little bit of sheen. So I could just use them as a matte. And sometimes I kind of like how a satin looks on my eyelid more than a matte eyeshadow. It depends. So yeah, and then I guess the other issue here was like with some of the greens, like this green, it's like, it's not bright enough for me in a way. Like it's not like a neon or something like that. It's like this dark, vibrant green that I don't find myself, drawn to as much, but I did it. Same with the silver, because it's not super shiny, even though I don't have a lot of eyeshadows like this. I would prefer it if it was like a metallic silver. I had one like that in my Saint and Sinners palette, and I miss that shade very much. Maybe at some point I will buy a silver eyeshadow just to have or something, but I want to make sure that it's like really sparkly. But yeah, definitely you can see some use that was happening on some of these shades that did not look like that earlier in the year. But yeah, and so that was my final one to finish, and so they're all done. I would consider this project a success because then I knew that I was actually using all the palettes and using all the shades in the palettes, not just, oh, like in this one, like, let's pull out, like I discovered some favorites, like this shade here is a favorite. And I don't know, just like some of the purples or things like that would be ones that I'm drawn to. And it's like, no, you got to use them all. So, if I just use all my favorites to start, then I'm left with all the least favorites. So yeah, I think that I would consider doing this again next year, but I might also just do it with my singles too. I don't know if I'm going to do 5 uses. I need to look and see how many eyeshadows it actually would work out to be in, because I have fewer palettes, but I have more singles now. So depending on how many, maybe I would do 3 uses for everything or 4. So I will figure it out. I've also added in some new projects since I started this one, so that might also influence what I do. But yeah, if you haven't tried something like this with your collection, I mean, I don't have nearly as many palettes as a lot of people do here on YouTube, but it's still more than I could get through in the time before they would expire. So I just want to make sure I am using them. Maybe you can try it. If you like this video, then please give it a thumbs up, but also just thank you for being here and watching this with me. Watching it with me? Well, you know what I mean. And until the next video, I hope that you'll be doing well, and I'll see you then. Bye.